Thank you, Jack. Good morning. My name is Karyn Collins, and I have been a member here since 2004. I have served this community in many ways, and today it is my joy to be your worship associate. To quote Isaiah 35, "The wilderness and dry land shall be glad. The desert shall rejoice and blossom. Like the crocus, it shall blossom abundantly and rejoice with joy and singing." I'm going to do a reading, a poem by Naomi Shihab Ni. It is called Kindness. Before you know what kindness really is, you must lose things. Feel the future dissolve in a moment like salt in a weakened broth. What you held in your hand, what you counted and carefully saved, all this must go, so you know how desolate the landscape can be between the regions of kindness. How you ride, ride thinking that the bus will never stop. The passengers eating maize and chicken will stare out the window forever. Before you learn the tender gravity of kindness, you must travel where the Indian in the white poncho lies dead by the side of the road. You must see how this could be you, how he too was someone who journeyed through the night with plans and the simple breath that kept him alive. Before you know kindness as the deepest thing inside, you must know sorrow as the other deepest thing. You must wake up with sorrow. You must speak it till your voice catches the thread of all the sorrows and you see the size of the cloth. Then it is only kindness that makes sense anymore. Only kindness that ties your shoes and sends you out into the day to mail letters and purchase bread. Only kindness that raises its head from the crowd of the world to say, "It is I you have been looking for." And then it goes with you everywhere, like a shadow or a friend.
That poem, I was just recalling that last part, kindness that ties your shoes to send you out in the world. Of watching, I think it was Wallace tying, I don't remember the other boy's name, tying his shoes before they went off this morning on the rug. I was like, I just saw that beautiful thing and paid attention to it when I saw it. Friends, we are continuing our series exploring the new UU values that we have our framework around. These values were adopted by our denomination at the annual General Assembly in June of 2024, so they're almost 2 years old. They're Unitarian Universalists representing congregations from across the country voted to replace our former principles and sources language with a new way of describing our faith through shared values, all centered around love. Shows that on the rug up here. Those values are justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, interdependence, and generosity. JETPIG. There she is. Wait. JETPIG. And yes, we're still getting used to that acronym. I like to imagine the committee meeting where someone said, what if our guiding values were also a farm animal? And everyone else said, yes, that's what we should be using. And today we're turning to E. E is for equity. But before we define it, let's go back again to that poem that we just heard. The poem reminds us that kindness is not something abstract. It's something that we come to understand through experience, through loss, through struggle, through those moments when life becomes uncertain and we realize how much we really need one another. And this is where equity begins too, not as an idea, but as a response to the truth that we do not all move through this world with the same ease. So let's start with the basics. Now, equity is often confused with equality. But equity says everyone, or equality says everyone gets the same thing. But equity asks, what does each person truly need to thrive? Or to put it another way, equity or equality, see, now I'm getting them mixed up. What hope do you all have if I can't even get it right in my script? Equality is handing everyone the same pair of shoes. Equity is realizing that some people are trying to run a marathon in flip-flops, right? And sometimes the difference isn't just about what we're given, it's about what we're already carrying, what we were born with. There's a social exercise called the invisible backpack. Is anybody familiar with that? Oh, that's a whole nother sermon or exercise to do here. It's a great exercise, and I meant to look up who came up with it. We'll do that next time. But I want every one of you here to imagine that you came into this space this morning with a backpack on. But they're invisible. And you can't see each other's, you can't see mine, and I can't see yours. Which is probably for the best, because if you saw mine, you'd see it was like 40% snacks. And a couple of things that have been in there since before I can even remember, and I've never used them once. But seriously, that's not what our backpacks are carrying. What our backpacks are carrying are the things that make us us. So some of the things you can see about me on the outside, right? I'm a white, middle-aged woman. Some of the things you can't see. I'm a middle-aged woman experiencing hot flashes this morning, which is why I took my blazer off, right? So I've got hormonal changes and those kinds of things causing havoc in my life sometimes. What you can't see, or what you can see, is I'm up here, right? I probably have an advanced degree. I do. What you can't see, I'm the first person in my family that went to college. I was raised working class. My first career was as a chef, very working class. So my brain is educated, but my heart and my bones feel really working class. So the invisible backpack is the things that we carry that not everybody sees. You also don't see that I live with depression, right? A little bit of complex PTSD too, from childhood trauma. Those are things I carry that you don't see, but I carry them, and they affect how I maneuver through this life. So every single one of us is carrying things that are visible and they're invisible. And some of those things give us privilege and advantage in this life, and some of them give us disadvantage. An advantage might be the fact for all of us here that we're living in the United States, high on capitalism. We're at the top rung of all of that. A country that's safer for most folks than some other places are. But we also know that it's not safe for everybody here, right? There are lots of things related to the systems of social division that we have created that cause differences in terms of equity for us. Race, religion, gender, sexuality, class, ableism, all of those things. We carry those things, and some of the things that we carry are more personal to us, not systematic. Things like addiction or mental illness. Those are more personal to us. They can have systematic effects. The system can affect them, but they are very personal. Some of us carry more than others. Some of us carry less. Some of us have everything we need in our backpacks. And maybe that's because it was packed there before us, by the generations before us. Maybe we were born into having some of those privileges. And some of us don't have what we need. And here in this room, some of us walked in with backpacks that included access to things like health care, like mental health care. But some folks carry long wait lists, high costs, or the quiet question of whether they'll be taken seriously if they ask for help. Some of us are carrying a sense of belonging, a feeling that spaces like this were built for us in mind, which is a statement loaded with privilege and all sorts of assumptions. And some of us are carrying questions like, do I really fit here? Some of us are carrying around strong support systems, people who notice when we're struggling, people who check in with us, people who show up when we have something we need. And some of us are carrying the weight of having to hold it all alone. Some of us came in this morning well rested, resourced, and ready, and some of us came in already exhausted, just needing to be here for an hour or two of respite. Some are already doing the math of how they'll make it through another week. And the truth is, we don't know who's carrying what. But here's something we do know, that this congregation and this community, every community is made up of all of that. Every one of those stories is here. Every one of those backpacks is sitting among us. And equity asks us something of us right here, not in the abstract, not out there somewhere, but in how we are with one another right here. It asks us to be in community that doesn't assume that everyone is starting from the same place. I take issue sometimes this faith of ours gets in this little phrase, I'm sure you've all heard it, I just want to be with the people that think just like I do. That's not true. We all have different stories. We're all carrying different experiences. We all have different things going on in our lives. We share our values, right? We share the same values, but we don't all think or feel exactly the same. So equity asks us to notice, to pay attention, and to make room for all of that. It asks us to build a space where people don't have to hide what they're carrying, where asking for help is not failure, but a normal part of being human, which, for the record, is something that we all need to keep practicing more and more. This thing of being human, that's the purpose of our lives, is just keep practicing it as we go. And with our offering this morning, I think one of the clearest places that this becomes real is with our mental health. So let's talk about that, because we all have mental health, right? And the vast majority of us at some point in time experience something that challenges our mental health, and some of us live with those challenges all the time. And this is especially true in our post-pandemic age, and this is especially true in a world that is rapidly changing, and in a world and a country that is profoundly divisive right now. And we don't all have equal access to care for ourselves in the ways that we need to. And some of this is maybe related to health insurance, but some of it is also internal, right? It's not all external. Sometimes there are internal things preventing us from getting help. Sometimes there are cultural things or systematic things that are preventing us. And equity asks us to notice that and to respond. And that's why our collection today matters. Not as charity, but as equity in action. This is how we live out our values. One small way we can help carry the load a little more fairly. It's one more way we learn to ask others, hey, what kind of shoes do you need right now? I want to pause and I want to say, if you're struggling with anything today, I want to remind you that you don't have to carry it alone. Life is full, so full of so many moments when we need to phone a friend, right? And if you don't feel like you can talk to a friend, you can come to me. I'm trained for that kind of stuff, folks. I can help you navigate where you need to turn to find the support and care that you need. Or I can just listen, and sometimes that is so valuable when you're feeling alone. And when you don't feel like you want to name these things to your friends or your family right now. And that's one of the core reasons that folks come to a community like this, because we practice care and we value equity. And not just in the personal ways that I've talked to you about today, but in the systematic ways not preaching a social justice sermon today, but in those ways too, right? When we consider equity, we think about also racial justice and LGBTQ freedom and rights. We think about ableism and disability justice. We think about immigration justice, climate action, and our own place in the global economy. Maybe the question for us to hold today is not, do I believe equity is an important value, but how am I practicing it? Because in the end, we have known struggle. We've all known it at some point. We have known how heavy life can be, and it is not just kindness that makes sense anymore when we get there. It's also equity. Because equity is kindness that has been made real for everybody, like that book that Garrett read to us this morning. Care that has been shared, love that has taken form in how we live together. And what we try to build here together, and when we take that seriously, and when we put that into work the best ways that we can, then we do the work of creating a world that is more equitable and more just, more loving and more kind. And that's exactly what we're here to do. Blessed be. Amen. I invite you to all reach out to one another if you're comfortable, or if you're more comfortable, to place your hands over your heart. And I close today with these words from Laurel Sheridan. Take from life its coals, not its ashes. Fan the flames of love and justice. Join hands and hearts in common endeavor, and there will be no limit to what we can achieve together. May peace and love be your guide until we meet again. Go in peace. Amen.